so I'll just, so this is the Stormwater Bylaw Committee reconvened on September 30th at 6 p.m. We'll go around table for attendance. Les Stevens.
Margaret Bacon.
Colin Hare.
Mike Swicker.
John Charbonneau, Town Planner.
Jacob Schultzberg.
And then I think Carol's would be joining us, but she might have a conflict or something, so. First item on the, or second item on the agenda is to committee organization.
I nominate Les Stevens to be chair.
A second.
Solid one last time.
I would say nominated somebody that was on the committee, Stonewall on the bylaw.
Yeah.
Same chair, same seats.
There you go. You're vice chair again. I'll nominate Margaret Bacon for the vice chair.
I'll second that.
There we go.
Okay.
Julio. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next item on the agenda, so we can go through here, is just discussion of the committee's charge and task. So John was able to update us on the bylaw is being submitted to the AG. That we
Again, it got submitted later than the other bylaws that were submitted at town meeting, but it has been submitted to the AG's office. It got submitted late, so we're still waiting to hear back from the AG's office on approval of that.
So with that update, I talked to John early on when we were putting together the packets, and I said, well, let's do this. There's two avenues. Avenue A is if it got submitted back in May when it got approved, then we could still do the work, and once we're done the regs, then get the plan, submit it to the planning board for their approval, dissolve and be done. But with this timeline here, I think we still do the regs, and then we hold our last meeting when the AG signs off, and then we have that final meeting. The regs are done, send it to the planning board. The timeline is still going to be the same thing because we still got to do the regs. So we'll just wait for the AG before we have our final meeting before we send it off before we dissolve.
Can I ask, why was there a delay?
I don't know. It's a town clerk. I wasn't here. I basically started after the town meeting, so.
I think with Matt's departure and maybe things just getting uploaded, I don't have the answer to that, but they caught it now because we raised the question of, hey, where are we? Did we hear anything back?
That's why I brought it up.
Yep.
Yeah, because
like a month ago.
Because normally when I prepare stuff, then it's ready to go. It's basically, I have all the Form 7 and the backup documentation, so the day after town meeting, I'm ready to hand it off to the town clerk. But like I said, I wasn't here when that
Because town
happened.
meeting, they had it all. It was at the meeting.
Yeah.
That's what was voted on.
Yeah.
It's like a separate document.
Yeah, good question. I just can't answer that.
So
when did they submit? How long, you don't know?
No, Lisa just said it got submitted late, and I said, well, how late? She goes, oh, fairly recently, so.
yeah, and the AG's been slow turning them around. But maybe they can get back in 60
But
days.
since it's not since they've already
Out of cycle.
basically reviewed stuff for May, maybe they'll catch it at a good time where they can review it quicker.
So you guys good with that? We still got, whatever, appointed from selectmen and planning board to reconvene, get the regs done. We can do all that and be in tip-top shape until the AG signs off.
Even if it takes 3 months from now, that'll be right about the time you guys will be finishing up with this anyway, correct? So
I mean,
sooner. I'm sorry. Tomorrow.
Exactly. I told you we're gonna.
I like to think.
I told you we're gonna fly through this. I mean, we're pretty shabby and stuff like that. All right. So
I just know, is there any, you think there'll be any crossover on, if the AG comes back, I mean, it's probably gonna get passed, because Oxford Falmouth is very similar. So
yeah.
I don't really see the issue being
No.
with the AG, but if they do, will that affect the regs in any way, shape? If we get into them so too deep?
Because we haven't, because we'll have the regs will still be living, right? So they won't be finalized until we get the AG sign off.
Yeah.
Once we get the AG sign off, then we'll finalize the regs and then set it up.
Sometimes
I'm just afraid something
Yeah.
have to be changed or not accepted.
No, I
Then
would
that would change the regs.
agree. That would change the bylaw.
Everything, right.
And the regs, which at that point you still can
You've got to
move
start all over.
The bylaw's gonna go back.
There you do.
to-
Because the bylaw would be
Back to town meeting.
for the whatever minor changes that they would flag. But to Colin's point, is Uxbridge is already laid out the footprint that we're following in, and that's already been signed off and endorsed. We we added actually just more exemptions and made it friendlier to the community.
I guess my thought was, is that if we go through the regulations, get them completed relatively quick,
Yep.
the AG's office comes back and says, I want you to change this, this, and this.
Then we have to
Now,
go back to town meeting in
Yeah.
the spring.
Yeah.
Now you gotta go through it again. Now-
Yeah.
It's not, but yeah, you could still do this and then put it aside.
Pause. We're gonna just pause until the AG comes
The
back.
work here isn't useless or not effective. It's just okay. So you get to a certain point, you put it aside.
Okay.
As long as it's relevant to the bylaw that we're gonna be accepting.
It's possible if they do have changes, it wouldn't affect the regulations necessarily. It
Yeah.
depends on what they want to change.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned. I just don't want the documents just floating around forever.
Oh, no.
8 months down the line, we gotta go back and try to look back through.
Concur.
No.
Take off, where were we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the AG should. So, and just while we're on the path of that, I've had a couple talks with other communities that did townwide, and now they're trying to figure out how to unring that bell. And yeah, one lady was like, "Please send me what you guys have done." Da, da, da. She's like, "It's horrible." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I've heard from another town that they're just dealing with needless applications and reviews that are unnecessary. So it was a pretty positive thing to hear that and hear some other communities' pain points of what they're doing with the townwide. So that's all.
Well, I guess, roll the dice.
Yeah.
Start on it.
Yep. All right. As we move forward, there's minutes in the packet for the 24th. We'll just save that to our next meeting.
Yeah, that was the previous stakeholder committee because the committee dissolved before approving these minutes.
Yep. We'll approve it at our next one. And so, John, you want to just highlight what's in the packet for everybody?
Yeah, so obviously you got the minutes from that meeting. We got the stormwater bylaw that was approved at town meeting, and I think you wanted Les just to reference the definitions. You want to carry the definitions over from what was approved at town meeting into this document that you're going to be preparing, and then you got the town of Uxbridge stormwater regulations that you're going to be using as a model.
So before we go any farther, just some logistics. So we're going to be meeting every other Tuesday, starting at 6 o'clock. And how late are we going to go to? We should have an end time.
Probably till 7, because I've got to.
He's the chairperson.
No, we can go longer. I have to jump out on a couple of them because I've got a.
Well,
7 o'clock.
I would think we wouldn't want to go longer than 7:30.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with
I
that.
agree.
Yeah. We don't.
Should we have a calendar like we had for the stakeholders? So
We do.
Well, I mapped out the next
Yeah.
couple months of meetings, like October, November.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And we were really productive where we went on our own and did our reading and pulled back information. What I just expressed to John was the biggest thing was getting the definitions that we really worked on tightening up, and I think that was a bulk of the stuff when we finally got hitting the ground running was tightening up the definitions from redevelopment and new development and stuff like that, making sure that would carry over into whatever regs we pull together. So, and then
So back to the meeting time, because you're absolutely right, to keep an efficient meeting, so we're not just wasting everybody's time. 7:30 is drop dead, okay? Just,
Well, that-
because a lot of times I don't get home, I'm working all day and I don't have supper before I get here, and you're the same, and it just becomes a long
that
day.
works.
It's a small board,
Yeah.
and we're focused on one topic, so I
Yeah.
think we should be able to get
We
that.
should be able to, sometimes we don't.
Can I, the gentleman that helped us out on the bylaw,
Nick.
Mr. Ford.
should he be involved in some of this process also?
I mean, if you want, I could forward it to him to take a look once you have something.
Once we start on it, or points that he thinks, well, he knows our bylaw so well, he helped write it.
Yeah.
Or maybe say, hey, this is what we're going with. Do you have any highlights? That we have another small committee going.
Yep.
What can you throw at them? Say, pay attention to A, B, C, and D. Then we can really look at those high points.
Yeah.
Make sure that they're good, and then work on everything else. But that way there, where he knows the bylaw so well, he'd really know some good input on maybe some regulations on certain things that he considers extremely important.
Yeah.
Then there are things maybe not so important.
I think once we get probably a draft of something that we can hand off to them, we could say, listen, what we did last time was the census of the board, right? The census of the board was do we want to do the bare minimum? What do we want to do here? What, you know what I mean? Does an applicant have to bring 20 copies? You know what I mean? Is there a way of rolling something in, saying in the regs to say, if you've already filed for site plan review, you know what I mean, and you've already got a site plan review open, so your stormwater plan, you know, highlight your stormwater plan and your site plan, you know, and stuff like that. So the person doesn't have to do another application. I think that's always been the pain point of another application, another review, and another hearing and stuff like that.
No, I mean, the planning board usually does that. Like, there are instances where they issue both a special permit and a site plan review for something. Usually wrap the site plan review into the special permit and do it under the same public hearing, so you're not duplicating.
And so the stormwater would be the thing, same thing. And I think that's,
But I think having right off the bat, last time we requested the map, if you remember in the beginning, and we were pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. So 2-3 months into it, before we even had anything going with Nick we wanted him involved, but there was pushback. I don't want to see it this time. No. I want to see where, like I think, right off the bat, he knows what's written, he helped write it, say, here it is, send us your high points. Then we can keep working on the draft and get all those involved in it now, and not do something, then go back. All right, change it again because he sees something wrong. Do it in the beginning.
yeah.
Get it done right off the bat. Is my opinion.
No, Nick was a great help. I think once we got to him and said, hey, this is what we're going to do,
He was.
and talked and expressed that to him, and you think about it, our time was wasted when we were trying to do two things. One, take a bylaw that was soundly defeated and you know, prop that back up and dust it off and everything else, which was never going to be the case. And then the examples that were given were unfriendly examples that we looked at until we really got to what made sense. And we once we got that point,
Yeah.
it was October, and we basically crushed it from there out.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Right.
and besides and the biggest thing was just getting the edits back into the thing, because we had quite a few meetings where we weren't getting the edits in.
And letting council and Nick review.
Yeah, at the end.
That was the big thing,
Yeah.
if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like, oh, I didn't get that done. So we're all sitting here and
Waiting.
we're going, okay, what do we do now?
I
Nothing's
think
been
council
reviewed.
should be close to the end once we
Yeah.
have a fine-tuned thing.
Yeah, that's what we did.
And Nick should be a little bit earlier once you have a draft together, so he could add stuff in.
No, I think I want Nick in the beginning to take a look at the bylaw to give us high points. Then we can work on a draft and everything and give it to him. But if he has particular points of interest that we should really look at, we want to know now, not later. So as we're writing it and changing it, it's already thought of and it's being done.
So, if you look at Oxbridge's thing, it's 25 pages.
Hey, so before we get into this, somebody tell me in layman's terms. So the bylaw's done, we're not touching the
not touching
bylaw.
that,
So I notice there's a lot of redundancy. What is really the difference between this and the regulations that we're going to create? Can you just help me simplify this? It's kind of confusing.
The bylaw is from like 10,000 feet. The regulations are down on the ground, like actually the mechanisms, like how they apply, what's being used, how the planning board's what they're supposed to review, and things like that. The bylaws are the general, and the regulations get into more specific.
Well, did you notice that there was a lot of,
Well, I went through Uxbridge's and I just made notes in terms of, you know, when I look through the things like with public hearings and everything, it gets way into the weeds on that stuff.
Yeah.
It's in Mass General Law, it's in the Planning Board's regulations. I think there's stuff that can be struck out of there that don't need to be in this regulation. That's what I had a chance to go through today. What's that?
Is there a 25th page? Because I've got 24,
No, I looked.
25.
I looked when I made the copies. It's not a 25th page.
All right, so, yeah, just a little confusion then. So the 25th page is probably the front page, even though, and then they
Yes.
put their numbering in. And for some
Yeah, like
reason-
for instance,
No,
on
no,
page
it's
9, it
kinda
says,
quirky.
the application fee will be used for prosecuting. They don't need to know what the application fee is going to be used for. Things like that.
Well, what,
so we're going to be thinning this down
Yes.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. So one of the things that we could do is take this time in this meeting to turn around and say, okay, take pages, 1 through 5, take a look, take, 6 through 10, and then we come back at the next meeting, everybody's taking a look at a section. And if you got time to do more than your section, then take a look at it. But then everybody takes a section to go through and scan through it. And to look and see what's in that section that doesn't make sense, that can be thinned out. And then, but we can look at the other sections as a whole, but at least you'd come back and weigh in and say, I've looked at this, these pages from here to here, this doesn't make sense, and kind of chop it down that way.
Yeah, I thought.
Is that, that or we go through each section and we can kind of page by page, either one works. I'm just trying to be productive in
Maybe
the
as a
time we have.
group, go through a bunch of pages, because what I see, what you see or you see will be different.
Well, one thing that I noticed right off the bat is the definitions.
Yeah.
Okay, they're different. So we want the definitions in our regs to match what's in the bylaws.
Yes.
Right.
So-
Yes.
And then this has a whole lot of extra ones that we're probably going to get rid of. If it's not the bylaw. Okay. So that's just redundancies and the same
So-
definitions.
Yeah, so I think we have to keep the definitions in bold.
The same.
Okay.
Same.
Okay.
That's the big
We
thing.
actually went through the regs,
Yeah.
and we already did out a bunch of the.
Okay.
I was going through the
Okay.
packet, but I didn't bring that because I didn't want.
All right.
Like, for instance, definition for A and R, I don't know if that needs to be in here because that's defined elsewhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I guess you guys want to go through a couple sections tonight and then take the rest,
Start on it.
start on it? Does that make sense?
Well, you want to start with the, so as far as the definitions go, it's just going to be an exact copy of the bylaws are going into the regs. Because right off the bat, in
Yeah.
Uxbridge, it has alter. Well, that's
Yeah.
coming out.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Oh,
You know that,
okay,
yeah, we
got
threw
it.
that out last
Okay, all
time.
right.
So, I guess section 1, we can start with that. We would change it over to Douglas's bylaw in the first paragraph.
So right off the, okay, so I don't know if we want to, right, so
Yeah.
it says purpose and authority. Do we want to match the bylaws where we just have purpose and get rid of authority?
Yeah.
And set it up that
Yep,
way?
yep.
So everything
Yep.
matches?
Yep, gives us purpose, makes it easier.
Don't want to go with the same on the purpose as
We'll change everything that says Uxbridge
Bylaw.
into Douglas.
So then,
Yeah.
so shouldn't the purpose then in the regulations be exactly what we have in the purpose? Or no? It's going to get a little more.
I guess let's review the
Look at
two.
it. There.
Well, because we actually have the laundry list of the purpose. We went through multiple sections. And I don't think we want to repeat the purpose, because then we're just
Okay.
repeating.
Sure.
What we could do is probably clean this up
Yep.
with, it's highlighting the bylaw. So it would be like the town of Douglas stormwater bylaw, right? In the first sentence. And then you have, you know what I mean? So that,
Oh, okay.
you follow me? You
Yeah,
take
yeah,
out
yeah, yeah,
Uxbridge.
yeah.
The section would have to change because that's going to be wherever it lands, which is section 12 actually.
Article.
Yeah, we don't even have to put the section if you don't want to. Just say just reference
Bylaw?
the stormwater
Okay.
bylaw, and that's this.
All right. And then,
I think we scratched the home rule stuff too on the
100%. Where's the home rules on?
first paragraph.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Scratch out the home rules, the
Yeah.
authority.
yeah.
So who's the poor lucky soul who's got to retype all this?
I will do the amendments.
Yeah. I would
Thank
scratch
you.
from under the authority.
So these regulations are hereby promulgated under or in accordance with the stormwater bylaw.
Correct. Done. Yep. Sure, scratch out the rest of that. Yep. In accordance to the stormwater bylaw. Done. Nothing in these regs to replace, diminish,
Correct. Yeah, I think that's a good
standard
sentence.
statement. Yep. Do we need the other one? The purpose of these regs is
Oh, the Douglas General Bylaw.
Douglas General Bylaw. What are we getting?
Yeah, I hit that, sir. I don't know if that's,
That's it.
need that.
Yeah, I don't think. I think. I don't know that second paragraph.
What do you
I
want,
get
B?
rid of it.
You get rid of it.
No, A, the second part of A.
Yep. Second part of A. What's
Get
the
rid of
thoughts?
it?
Well, that's the purpose of, the regulations are separate, from the bylaws. So
Right.
the purpose of the regulations is to
And they're
clarify the
fine,
definition
fine.
of bylaws,
Okay.
you know?
Just change Oxford and make it Douglas.
Yeah, and then we can get rid of
And then
chapter.
the-
Chapter 290.
Yeah.
eliminate that.
Defined in the provision, yep.
So the provisions of the Douglas General Bylaw,
Correct.
hereafter called the bylaw and administered by the Douglas
Yeah.
Planning Board. Okay.
Okay. Adoption amendments, these regs and fee schedules, periodic review by the planning board, yep. We get rid of that section 4 again.
Yeah.
And then we call it Douglas. In there. The effective date, we'll have to edit that. We know that would be from the AGs. So I think we'll have work to do on that section C. On the effective
Yeah, that's
date.
going to be cleaned up because, yeah.
We'll just have to fill in some dates on that. Definitions, we already kind of know what we're doing.
So you just want the exact definitions that were passed in the bylaw put into here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that would
which
be-
is chapter 3 in the bylaw.
And I would take, to avoid redundancy, I would just take, as soon as it says section 2 definitions, I'd remove all that.
Yeah.
And pull over the whole thing that we've had in there. We don't need this top paragraph in there,
No.
because it's already been restated.
Okay.
On the definitions.
Yeah. So it's a complete definition swap out.
Eliminate this complete.
Yep. Eliminate the whole thing and just say section 2 definitions and then pull the other one out.
Paste.
Yep. All right, that gets
Takes us
us
right through to page 7, really.
to
Oh, boy,
page.
we're cooking with gas now.
Told you.
I know it.
That'll be from the bylaw.
So if we stay in the same order, then for the bylaw, now it's after definitions, it's administration, just like they have it
Yep.
here.
Yep.
So we're gonna stay with that
Yeah.
order,
Yep.
correct?
Yep. Anything in mission? Yeah, because it keeps the same law, which is nice. So we've changed that up for Douglas.
And I think the rest of the paragraph can stay. I don't see anything wrong.
1, 2, 3.
You had said you wanted to take out the approval not required. Do you want to do that?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to pull the you don't have A&R in your definitions, so I'm just going to replace their definitions with your definitions, yeah. And that's one of them I don't think is needed because we have A&Rs defined elsewhere.
Yeah.
Only because I know it was in the bylaw.
Yeah, and A&Rs aren't really specific to this anyway, they're just a general
Yeah.
thing.
I think there was an exemption part with that. That's why I want to make sure we're consistent with
Okay.
So under section 3, we're gonna do a same copy and paste, or what are we gonna do
I
here?
think what,
What if there's a way to shorten it, because they only have very small paragraphs
Yeah.
for administration. We have 4 large.
4 lots, yeah.
I would just just put the Douglas Planning Board's designated administrator and keep the rest of it, because it points back to the bylaw. And we've already kind of said what the bylaw does.
Yeah, again, the bylaw is
Bible.
more macro,
Right.
it's more big picture than the regulations.
So pretty much leave administration
Yeah.
the way it is, just
I think so.
substitute Douglas.
Yeah.
Is everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Applicability, this is where, section 4.
Before we go into that, do you know how the Uxbridge's bylaw is? Is it a storm townwide? Is it condensed? Is it similar
Les
to
would know
ours?
that better than I would.
Matt, like,
It's not townwide.
so it's similar to ours.
that. Anywhere there's municipal.
Correct.
Municipal.
Okay.
Yep.
Similar to, where are you from?
I grew up in Uxbridge.
Oh,
She's like, where are you from? He's from
said ours, I didn't know.
All right.
Just before we start, comparing their
Yep.
regulations, I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
we're on the same page with Uxbridge
Well,
is to how
yeah.
they did their bylaw.
Our original map, which was what we call the red map, or I forget the other title. So the original red map, we actually had that fine-tuned just to the down drainage more and cleaned it up a lot. So there was a EPA one, and then Nick helped us clean it up with that variation,
Yeah.
and that was it. And
He didn't change, the big change in that was the contours. He was using originally 10-foot
Yep.
contours.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
And they
huge.
changed it to 2-foot contours, which was more applicable.
yep, yeah, it made sense.
And here's
Yeah,
I don't know if this is the latest, but that's kind of
That
gives you a
was the cleanup.
sense.
Are you trying to find where I am?
no, yeah, but it was a big cleanup effort.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys okay with section 4 applicability?
What do
So
we have for applicability?
A very,
we have all this, they have all this chapter and everything else, and
Yeah, we want to make sure that it's consistent with applicability. that we-
I would, my thought is take section A that's in our bylaw, applicability, and then the exemptions,
Right?
and bring that over.
all of it.
Yeah, because it's important to have the.
Because it's 14,
It's
yeah.
no,
important to
it
have the-
delineates everything.
Everything there.
So we'll get rid of
Just all the
everything in that section 4
Yeah.
and transfer over,
Our applicability and exemptions,
Changed.
because that way there we would be inconsistent.
that would be the same, so this will all be bylaw.
Oh, and then we don't lose something that's in, if we just brought over applicability but not the exemptions,
Understood, yep,
you
No,
know.
those are important.
yep.
Yep.
It eliminates that chance of,
Right. So what do we have 4, and then you know what we're missing?
Permit.
Oh, this is okay. This is where applicability. So their our bylaw applicability was 5, and it's 4 in theirs. Now we get into
permit.
permits.
Now, do we want to go their way or stay with the bylaw, our bylaw procedure and numbers and keep it flowing the same way?
Well, this is kind of the
This is getting into the nitty gritty.
this is the meat.
Yeah, this
This
is
is the
really
meat?
pretty, yeah.
And I think this is where we're
Okay.
gonna probably spend most of our time is in the meat
Yep.
here.
See, for instance, I like, I'm looking at the procedures that you have in the bylaw, Les, and
Yeah.
their timelines are really tight in here. I like the 90 days, so I had made notes on that anyway, that I thought that
Yep.
the timelines you guys established were more reasonable for the planning board.
Especially during the summer
Well-
months.
I think it would be good to, because this section 5 is really where everything kind of comes together. And this is really where they've got a lot of pages, so is there, I don't think we're gonna, I don't think we're gonna get the section 5, and that's where we're gonna get this, I think this is where we're gonna spend most of the time, because we gotta tighten this up, and
I just remember this section on the timeline. You had said, I had a question that you said it was actually, this was actually quicker than, do you remember that discussion?
yeah, there was something about it.
So I'd like to, that's all.
I don't. I think the goal is not to is to not to add on to someone's site plan review. Is to have it incorporated with what they're doing.
See,
Okay.
and that's why we really need to think about the timelines, because if they're needing a stormwater permit from the planning board in conjunction with another special permit or a site plan review, they have their own timelines according to Mass General Law. So
Yeah.
I don't want something in here to be inconsistent with
Yeah.
that, because they have to add them. They have to act on them. Concurrently. So if this timeline is even stricter than a special permit, then that's not going to jive with the planning board. So
Correct.
So, could we, for the I'm just thinking for the best purpose, I want time to study
yeah,
section 5.
Yeah.
You know
I would
what
like-
mean?
I would
Go through
like
it.
to, too.
And have you take a look at it and
Yeah.
say, hey guys, and I, you know what I mean. My thought is also, maybe send it section 5 to Nick and say, hey, is there anything in here that's unnecessary or lengthy or redundant? You know what I mean? To get Nick to weigh in on section.
I'd like to take a look at it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
send it off to Nick, because,
Yeah.
for instance, there are paragraphs where I'm like, revision of fee schedule and regulations. We don't need that, because that's, the planning board has the right to, to amend fees, when they want to. So there are certain things that I don't think need to be in this bylaw, so.
Bylaw, you mean in the
Like
regulations?
at the bottom of page 10, the fee must be received in its entirety. We don't need to put that. I mean, that's automatically part of our review process. If you don't submit the appropriate fee,
That's a good-
it doesn't go
Yeah.
forward. So
Yeah.
things like that I don't think are necessary. Yeah, they have a public meeting will be held within
Well,
30 days.
Well, also what also comes out of here is the 53G account.
Yeah,
Is that redundant where you're already going to be?
I think so.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I think having.
But
the
I think you may. Well, this name may be shortened to say you just need a 53G account unless you already have an open one regarding a site plan.
I think it's important to list what the peer review would be for this, because it might be different than regular site plan review or special
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah, but I think there's just a lot of
Yeah.
over language in here, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Consulting services may include and not limited to, surveying and everything else.
Yeah.
Gets into drainage analysis. I think you can have some of it, but there's just a lot of redundancy in here.
So the fee portion, I know you would say that the planning board has already established fees, but is that that's not this particular bylaw?
No.
No.
I mean,
We have nothing.
like for instance, I wanted, our fees, when we collect a special permit fee of I say $500 for special permit, that includes their public hearing notices. So I want a chance to make this consistent with that, because that would be
Yeah.
wrapped into that. And if at all possible, I'd have them both in the same public hearing ad anyway.
It's usually one document
Right.
that's saying, here's the planning board fee schedule, and it includes, everything. It would include the stormwater review fee or site plan review fee or A&R fee and everything else. It's a schedule. It's a nice little.
For instance, I think we'd only need a separate 53G account if it's a standalone stormwater permit. So that's what I would like to put in the fee schedule, if you all agreeable to that, is, if it's standalone, here's what the things are. If it's combined with another project, then you already have an open 53G account.
Yeah, I think it might be nice to have a note where this will be in combination with whatever. So if somebody comes in, they say, oh, okay, you're not gonna nail me here and nail it. You're allowing a combination of,
Yeah.
other than circumstances where a standalone is required, the fees will be this.
So
That way, it's friendly to the applicant, stating that we'll try to work it all together.
I think the other thing that's needed in here is, say there's a pause, right? And I haven't read through this deep enough that if there's a time frame of, they within 90 days, blah, 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 let's say something happens, change of ownership, death, I wouldn't want the applicant, but the applicant could do in writing, say, hey, I wish to pause where I stand in line.
Or request an extension.
Extension.
And they can already do that.
Yeah. I just don't wanna-
That's part of the normal public hearing process anyway, is you come to a point where the planning board has a certain time to act on special permits, on site plan review, and if you come to the end of that, sometimes the board's not done with review, so the planning board will approach the applicant and say, okay, well, we're coming to the end of our 90 days, we would like to request an extension of time to act, or they can request continuances of the planning board. So
Correct.
that process is already established.
Should it be, though, also noted in here that it's the same, because in case of a standalone?
We could, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because a standalone wouldn't be looking at those other regulations, they'd be looking at this regulation only.
So you're referring to standalone, just an applicant that comes in for...
Just a stormwater permit.
Just stormwater,
So
right.
not
Yeah.
site plan review.
Right.
Correct. Because say it's your own lot.
So,
You're not coming in for a subdivision or nothing like that. That would be considered a standalone.
and I think that would be a good thing to put it in here, even I'm looking a little ahead on when we look at the other sections, where if we look at what's in site plan, so the person doing another locus map or doing another packet,
Yeah.
if, then you can almost have a thing saying, this is required on a standalone, and then if you did a site plan, you've already got a locus, you've already got these other things in here.
I remember discussing that.
Yeah, and then that way there, they could have a section saying, if you're applying for site plan and stormwater, here's the shopping list that you need for documents.
Right. And I think site plan review pretty much addressed all the
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
99%.
Yeah, there might be 2 items that they have to do.
Right.
Are they exempt from, if you're doing a site plan, are they exempt from applying for the bylaw? Remember we talked about the overlaps?
If they're outside the zone. If
No,
they're,
even if there's overlaps, if they're already going to site plan
Yeah.
review, so
they wouldn't have
they would
to.
have to apply for stormwater. Well, they could do it simultaneously.
Simultaneously, yeah.
They
Simultaneously.
apply, but it's
Yes.
simultaneous.
Okay.
Correct.
Because it's a separate entity, yes.
And then we didn't want overlaps. with
Yeah.
it.
Correct.
So, okay.
Yeah,
We didn't want to have to do
Yeah.
one, then come back and do another,
Right.
combine them together, moving forward, yeah.
yeah.
I thought if they were getting a stormwater permit from the planning board, you didn't need another one.
Right, that's what,
Correct,
that's what
correct.
it's-
Yeah, or
Yeah.
through the Conservation
No.
Commission, you don't need to do it again.
No.
You're done.
Once you're done, that's it. You didn't need to
So-
go around,
So you only need one stormwater
correct.
package, and as long as it gets approved by the planning board or the
Yep.
Conservation Commission, you
Yep.
don't need a separate.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But we're saying that if the applicant files for site plan, they can bundle this together with site plan, stormwater and site plan together.
We're like Progressive. You can bundle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like when someone does a flex design residential development. Yes, it's a special permit, but it's also a definitive subdivision.
Correct.
So it's reviewed under the same public hearing.
Yes.
Like we'll have earth removal along with
Yes,
certain projects,
exactly.
it's run together.
So we just want that clear, that's someone coming in. I mean, we're not
That's what
here.
we're talking
And that's why I really
Yeah.
want to go through this section carefully,
Yeah.
because to make sure it's consistent with the other planning board regulations.
So it's either gonna be you or the building inspector that's gonna make people aware, applicants aware that
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
stormwater.
Yeah, I'll make them aware of it, yeah.
Okay, so
absolutely.
that's how you,
So 5.
That's how it's treated.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to take.
And that's all by the map.
So we want to take time to go over section 5
Sure.
and review it on our own as well as on
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And-
All right.
And I just want to let everyone know, I'm going on vacation from the 9th through the 23rd, so I'm not going to be here for your next meeting. So I'm going to have to talk to Les about what the agenda is going to look like. So I don't know if I'll have time to completely go through this before I leave next week. So I can try and implement the changes that we've talked about tonight to the first few sections and get those to you.
Yep. Yeah, I think we will probably just come back and weigh in on section 5 on us ourselves and other sections to see if there's any other.
And I kind of agree what John said earlier too, that, yeah, let's, before we send this off to the consultant, I'd like to kind of go through it myself, in case we have other questions that we want to forward off to them.
Take one pass at it and then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I was just
It was
looking
really
I was looking at it on the other way where.
Yeah.
Well, I also
we're
don't want...
bypassing
Right.
things, you might say, don't bypass that, look at it.
No, but-
So that, you know what I mean, it can go either way.
If you think about the things that we just cleaned up, it was all related to
Yeah,
time
that
and
is-
which was so we're just gonna save that headache for them,
Right.
cleaning up that sections. But I think we'll take the time to go through 5 and then ask him to weigh in on it, see if there's anything over the top that's unnecessary or unneeded.
Yeah, because he's not going to weigh in on our fees and our
No,
53G and all
no,
that.
not at all.
It's the nuts and bolts later on
I
in
know
the
it is,
document that
yeah.
he's going to play.
53G is the outside, right?
Yeah.
We don't
It's
do
the outside
So we
consultant,
don't
yeah.
do 53 and a half anymore, right?
We do. I've seen it. The planning board does 53Gs. What's a 53E?
E and a half, I think it's, when it's staff time.
Well, that's what the application fee is for. That covers our time.
That was when we had the in-house engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
That was
think that,
back.
we didn't, that wasn't, it was like, that wasn't voted at town meeting, only the,
Right.
only the
Right,
53G.
right.
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 All right. What do you guys think? Section 6. This is the stormwater management performance standards. This is pretty lengthy as well.
We don't have anything in the file that kind of matches that. At least the title of it.
Yeah.
What page are you on?
I'm on 13, page 13 of 25.
Yeah,
See, this is where we get into, once we have a draft together, Nick's wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think this is
yeah,
gonna be
this
really
is what he would wanna,
correct. I think, yeah, once we get probably an updated draft, we probably want to have him look at 5 and 6 and
But I almost think all we really have to do is refer to the Mass Stormwater Standards, and that's,
I was gonna say it's right
Yeah.
online.
The-
The stale stormwater standards are right
is it?
there. Yeah.
that's what everybody, you know,
Yeah.
and that's just, this is just referring to all that, it's just a lot of extra
Verbiage.
verbiage, so.
Okay. Yeah, if we can get the.
So, and I'll go through this
Okay.
myself.
Yeah,
but,
Margaret's our consulting in-house expert. You know. All right, so that's good with section 6.
Yeah, because all this stuff, yeah, minimum time of concentration,
Yeah.
yada, yada, we don't need to put, that, all
Okay.
this,
Yeah,
yeah, they all got
Stormwater.
rainfall amounts and everything
Right,
in
right,
there.
right.
we'll just reference the section and it'd
Okay.
be cleanest
Or put in as per state
per state reg.
reg
Yeah.
ABC,
yeah,
whatever it
so
might be.
and I'm gonna go through all those and just make sure there's not anything,
It's all
Yeah.
consistent with the DEP stormwater management.
that's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah,
There are some things though that if you look on, for the bylaw, on the, I forget exactly, it was on the state's website. And I think it did have a lot of stuff with this as well, what I recommended on that.
Yeah. think
I think it's probably gonna be redundant though, if you read it.
Correct.
Mine is probably gonna say, right.
Yeah. All right, section 7, stormwater management plan content. I think this is where we can probably sharpen this up.
Yeah, look at what the planning board's plan content requirements are for site plan,
And just note it in here, you know, if you've already submitted site plan,
yeah, like, we don't, you know, don't need to
copies
list
of all the
locus
other
map,
stuff.
existing site plan,
Yeah.
you know, just list the things that are unique to stormwater.
I would just probably maybe do what we talked about was, if you're applying for stormwater only, you know, and then from there,
If in conjunction
In
with
conjun-
a
correct.
special permit, a site plan review.
yeah,
There you go. That way there's a master list.
yeah,
Then you just eliminate if you're already doing it for
Yeah.
site plan review.
yeah, because this is a lot of,
But if
and they call it a stormwater report.
Yeah, so if
I
it,
don't know if I like the word report personally. I would say, would it be like filing or
No.
request?
no, I call it a report.
Would you call it a report?
Yeah, because you not only have all the calculations in there, then you have a brief description, pre-existing post, you know,
Would that
and
be
a
in
few
your
other
packet?
things, so it's, yeah, it comes in a report. I call them reports, that's what it
okay.
is.
Yeah, all right.
So let me ask you a question. So if somebody triggers, and there's gonna be very, very few that trigger a stormwater based on the map,
Right.
so if there is that one project that comes in that, because they're in the map, they trigger it. They don't need site plan review, they don't need conservation commission, they just, they still need the permit. So then, yeah, I think we would wanna,
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
right, okay.
We want to keep this in. It just we
Right.
want to put a note if you're already doing site plan review, you know, please
Okay.
review and make sure your site plan packet has these captured.
Yeah.
Done.
Or list is as per standalone.
Correct.
If in conjunction with site plan review, some things might be omitted.
Yeah.
Or they run concurrently, I
Yes.
should say,
Yeah.
not omitted,
Yep.
but they run concurrently.
And does this allow, I know the bylaw did allow the planning board to they can waive certain sections of the bylaw if they found necessary, because if you had a guy coming in that's just disturbing, 1.2 acres versus 100 acres, obviously the standards are gonna.
I'd have to look at that because I want to be very careful about waivers. You know, make sure that we're not waiving something that is important. So I'd want to look at that to see.
I think in the bylaw, we drafted the bylaw, we did put that in there.
We did.
to Make sure that
Yeah.
the
We just gave
homeowner wasn't,
we gave the flexibility to the planning board
yeah.
to be reasonable in certain situations. So,
That they could waive certain sections if they found it
Yeah.
minor in nature that.
yeah.
And that was the other part where I think going back to the other section, we were talking about the different disturbances.
Yeah.
I think there was, if you want to, I'm not sure how we do that, we call it a minor plan maybe.
So
Well, and the thing is, when it comes to minor versus major, I'm not a big believer in making it ultra specific because you create unintended loopholes. I think if you're going to do that, then you have to give the planning board kind of some leeway in terms of that, because I've had towns that strictly define minor versus major, and a developer will always find a loophole that you're trying to close. So you kind of have to leave it general enough to let the planning board use its
Yeah.
own judgment, because there's always going to be something that comes up that
Yeah.
falls outside those things.
The only thing that I kind of going through this is it dances back between, it says in here, stormwater handbook, stormwater bylaw, and these regs. I don't think there's a handbook, or what they were referencing. Oh, Massachusetts stormwater handbook?
Yeah, it's,
Okay. Okay, all right. I was just trying to,
well, you're right, you gotta be consistent with the,
that's all. Just what's being called out. I guess you're gonna take a look at section 7 and see what
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
site plan
Yep.
does, and then how we want to add that language that
Right. Yep.
the applicant doesn't have to be redundant with a site plan
Right.
and with stormwater.
Yep.
And then we'll have Nick review it to see what's necessary in here, or what.
Yeah, this is another section I'd want him to definitely
I think
target.
there's just a lot of
There's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
sections in here that it gives us a chance to digest it too. Section 8, the surety. I I think this can get really cleaned up to the forms of that the state requires for surety.
Yeah, just one thing that stood out to me, shall not be released to amount less than 15%. I think that should be higher. It's like, I'm not a big fan of bond reductions along the way, because the town can end up left holding the bag, especially when it comes to like roadways and subdivisions and stuff like that. I'm a proponent for holding on to bonds in their full amount as long as possible.
What number? Or
That's not Section 8 surety.
I know, no, but what number? It's at 15.
I don't know, at least 25%, maybe even
Make it-
higher.
Make it 30.
Yeah.
So I'll change the 15 to 30.
Yep.
Moving right along.
Yeah.
Should be done tonight.
That's gonna go down.
Think that would be sufficient in today's market?
30%?
30% to hold back at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way there's enough there, especially dealing with this, because you're dealing with a lot of earth moving and all kinds of stuff, to have enough funds there.
It gives it, again, the planning board's got the right to, if they want to go under it, or whatever it is. 30%, they're going to hold back until the project's done. If we look at the projects, they're all going to be probably major projects, such as in a big subdivision or warehouse.
What would be the reasoning not to, I'm just thinking this through, is if an applicant comes in on a subdivision per se, or industrial subdivision, they come in and they say, this is 100% complete, and it gets verified by the board or the staff or engineers. Why
Well,
would they
when you
not-
when you talk about roadways, first of all, it is not. There's a difference when it comes to a roadway. A board cannot hold on to the bond up until acceptance. Once the road was as 100% complete, the planning board has to release the remainder of the bond.
As long as it's done as per spec.
Correct. So, but here's the thing, because right up until the end, if the reason to hold on to that bond is I've been in communities where a roadway can be 80, 90% done, and then the bond's been reduced. Like in Rentham, we had a small subdivision where the bond we were holding was $35,000, but the remaining work on the subdivision was $120, and the developer was not finishing the work. The cul-de-sac had the binder coast done for like 10 years, where the weeds were growing this high through it, and the residents were complaining they wanted the roadway complete. We ended up having to negotiate with the guy just to get it done, because we had no leverage, because we didn't want to walk it away. He was like, no, take my $35,000 because I'm going to have to pay $120 to
So he
finish.
waited like the 8-year difference, so the time is what created that.
I don't know. He just sat on it, and he lived on that road. So his neighbors did not like him. So we sat down, and the fire department and the planning board agreed to waive certain things to get the price down, just to get him to finish that road. So
Well, you may want to look at is what's the surety on the site plan process, because if we're going 30%, let's say on stormwater, but site plan's 15, we just want to be consistent of what it is.
But we might look at, because we're looking at our regulations anyways now.
Yeah.
We
Subdivision
might
regs.
decide to bring ours up, because we have had issues of
Very
roads
much
not
so.
getting
Yeah.
completed, so.
Yeah.
For once over the years.
Yeah.
because it costs the town so much more to finish something than it does private sector. So, and the thing is, when the planning board establishes a performance bond, you're only allowed to go up. You're only allowed to account for so much percentage of inflation, and things have skyrocketed so much. Towns are having a tough time keeping up.
So wouldn't that be addressed in the, because I think there's a time frame for subdivisions, they start it, once they commence, it's 2 years.
Sometimes,
No.
not always.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
Not always.
That's why there's extensions.
Yeah.
They do an extension, or they phase it, and they do it that way. So wouldn't that be picked up in 2 years if they could say if they gave them some bond money back and now it's still not done, it's going into the next phase or something? Can they reinstitute and inflate it? Inflate it, they can inflate it, build it
We
back.
don't have any language.
Yeah.
I think what I think should be done, there should be language on any conditions that we do where every year on the anniversary date of the approval, this bond and or surety is reviewed.
It has to be
I think-
reviewed, and you have the planning board has the option to
But we have
recalculate.
nothing, there's nothing in black and white now stating that fact. I think the right is there, but it should be stated upon acceptance of this date, on an anniversary date, this shall be reviewed for surety increases because of inflation.
Yeah.
That would protect on planning board side going forward and on anything like this
It
going
used to be 2
forward.
years, I don't know if it's still on the residential.
It depends.
I don't think
I've seen
a lot of
planning boards do that. I've seen planning boards that
done in
don't.
2 years. That's a problem.
It depends.
I mean, big projects aren't going to be done, but I think giving the planning board the option to review, make sure the bond is accurate.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
That's all.
I mean,
You know?
and it'd be a trigger,
Yeah, that's all.
because right now there is no triggers.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had projects going on, what, look at, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 years, long.
No, we've had projects with 4 different owners.
And that's the problem, so
You know, still going on.
the idea is
12 years, 4
There's
different
nothing
owners.
Yeah.
nothing to trigger that
Yeah, no, it's challenging.
overlook, you know?
No, I agree.
We're all paying for it if it's not done.
Yep.
We citizens, we pay for it,
So,
our tax money.
John, you want to look at the section 9 on the surety and just make sure that's consistent with other surety language?
9 or 8,
Eight.
section
Sorry,
8.
it's 8. Yeah,
Yeah.
make sure, you know,
The other problem is,
and probably tied to like the mass general law section of surety too. Should be referenced
the other
there.
problem with surety is if you get an insurance bond, now you're fighting insurance.
No.
Yeah.
I don't ever recommend insurance bonds because if it's not renewed, then you have nothing,
Right.
and it's up.
We've had that before.
Yeah, and that's something else we have to monitor to make sure they renew it. So,
Or the insurance company goes belly up.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have anything tangible.
No.
The rental planning board accepted nothing but cash. Not even a passbook, not even a tripartite, cash. They wanted cash
Yeah.
because they wanted something tangible that they could
That's legal?
they could access easily. Yep.
Well, it's a town. I disagree whether it's legal that a town can mandate because they get form of surety in the state of Massachusetts.
Right.
You have 3 forms. Now, whether they don't want to accept it, that's another legal issue in itself. Because if Lily's saying, hey, if I put this, policy or this passbook or this check on the table, you're not accepting it because it's not, in this
I
manner.
know, that's why I thought it was just.
I don't know if I mean.
Well,
but-
they did it. Then.
No, I understand.
We've also-
They dug their heels in. You know what I mean?
I've seen
But-
some projects also with this tri-parties involved. And that's when it really gets complicated because
Right.
you're not dealing with the one, you're dealing with 3, 4, 5
Yep.
different individuals and who's doing what for the surety.
Yep.
I remember we had a big development, I forget which one it was,
It's
and it became an issue on how we were going to get surety.
yeah. I think the preference of the board could be something, right? The preference of the board. The problem is this: you look at site plan review. It's going to be a bigger corporation, and you say, okay, you've got to come up with. We did the calculations. You're going to build a $100 million project, and you got to come up with $50 million in cash.
Yeah, I know, that's not, I don't think that's real, I don't think,
But you know what I mean? No,
I don't
but
think legally that can,
correct, and that's
on the surety.
yeah.
Well, they again.
I think
did
it's,
it.
you know what I mean, but it would be the extent related to the project and stuff like that, or the scope of the work, not really the infrastructure. And I'm just using a $100 million warehouse as an example.
Yeah.
But if they estimated and said, okay, it's $20 million, to do the work. The other problem you have with it, and the sore point I have with it is the person has to hand over, the check, right, in cash, whatever it is. Then has to go come up with the money to go do the work, and then has to come back and say, okay, can I get a piece of my check back? So the poor guy's paying, twice. You know what I mean?
The way they looked at it, that's the cost of doing business. So.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it's still.
Yeah.
It's,
Honestly, I've seen
Yeah.
enough towns
Yeah.
that get screwed over by developers.
Yeah.
See it all the
And-
time.
Yeah.
And we all know in our own town here, how many gravel pits are still left as an open pit and everything else because there was nothing.
Yeah.
Now you drive by and it's just like a hole in the wall, really.
Yeah.
And it's because of that.
Yeah.
And we dealt with that
Yeah.
not on the subdivision, but like on the sewer plant, when that was new, when we built that, the contractor went bankrupt. Almost three quarters way through. We go a little further than that. And we dealt with the insurance companies, and there was we didn't get half of what we,
Yeah.
we had
Right.
everything that was supposed to get done.
My first experience in the town of Rutland, my second week on the job, was there was a gentleman there was an infamous engineer and developer who were doing an estate lot, a reduced frontage lot, and he had already cleared the driveway. So I called him up. I said, "You need a special permit." He walks into my office, slaps the application on my desk. He goes, "I don't know why I'm bothering. It's pretty much a rubber stamp at this point. I've already done the work." I don't have a warm fuzzy for most developers. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Because after 25 years, I'm
I know who you're
done with the
talking about.
games. I'm done with them doing and begging for forgiveness after. I just don't have sympathy. I don't.
All right. We'll get back on course. So section 9's enforcement. I think we're gonna have to mull that over. Spend some time and take a look at that.
And I'd also like Ken to look at that too. Yes.
No, exactly.
And his engineer,
Yes.
Mr. Vortruba.
I don't know. I know.
See, he knows who I'm talking about.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
Inspection.
We're good with that. Is section 10 is the construction.
I'd like to
inspections.
get Ken to weigh in on enforcement if he's going to be involved in that as well as the building commissioner. I'd like to get his.
Well,
Have Nick and Ken.
Yeah.
one of the things is I'm just reading through this. I like section C where it starts out at the discretion of the on page 21, section 10C. It calls out right there that a qualified PE approved by the planning board overseeing the inspections. That section C.
Oh, down here.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that would almost be higher up on the construction inspections thing, notice of, and then I'd probably rotate the letters. We're on page 21.
Wasn't it brought up
See, yeah.
where a note was made, I know on the PE, but everybody could say, well, I'm a PE, but yeah, he doesn't have a stamp.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Oh, you gotta
So-
have a PE stamp.
I'm just saying, well, should that be made a note of where you must, a PE with a stamp?
Well,
Or all PEs have a stamp?
they all have stamps.
They all-
They are, okay.
Yeah.
Unless they're too cheap and don't want to buy one, but they have.
Or they lost their stamp, in the car somewhere.
Yeah.
Or they
Yeah.
have lost their
We
stamp.
just
and thrown it
wanted
away
to
by
make
now,
sure, and I think we put in our bylaw that the right people were looking at it,
Yeah,
is all it was.
I'm just looking at, I probably in section 10, I'd almost want to move C up to A. So you start out with that, the planning board, is going to have the right person to do all inspections, blah, blah, blah.
I
And
would go one further, Les. I would like to move this section 10 up and then have like remedies and fines after that.
okay,
So I would like to have the construction
Okay.
inspections done, and then if stuff is found, then we can, get into the fines. and
So
stuff
make
like that.
section 10, section 9.
Yeah, just move it up ahead of that.
so
Move
Because it seems-
C up.
Yeah, well, move the entire section 10 up in front.
Call-
Put nine-
right after
Call
surety,
9,
yeah.
10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
and then move enforcement down after construction inspections. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
yeah. So there's a process and a situation, yeah. And we still gonna have to digest some of this, and I think that's where we'll Nick with the inspections and maybe also who the planning board has doing their. They use Leonard. Is it?
Haley Ward.
Haley Ward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lenard's one of them. too.
Yeah.
Well, I think, did Lenard become Haley Ward?
I don't know.
Someone be.
Yeah, Leonard, I thought they closed up or something.
I've seen Leonard in the past, but we've been dealing with Haley Ward since I've been. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Haley Ward walked in on this one.
Okay. So, yeah, we probably want to get someone to look at section, the new 9 section of the construction inspections, to look at all that, to see if that's all firmed up and stuff like that, and applicable.
So,
I think we just gotta digest all that, because I don't know if an inspection form will be included, name, address, and weather permitting information.
But again, these are things I have to create too.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to create an application just for this.
Yeah, it's just something.
Okay. I found what I was looking for before. In the bylaw, we wrote a qualified licensed
Yeah.
PE.
Oh.
Here they just say a PE.
Yeah.
It has to be certified in the state of Massachusetts.
So to match, I'm just saying to match nomenclature from the bylaw to the regs,
Yeah.
we should say what the bylaw has.
Yeah. To qualify.
That way there, it's the same all the way around.
Why are you using like nomenclature this late at night, Mike? Come on, it's too late for those words.
What can I say?
So back to these inspections though, so if somebody does a stormwater report because of the Conservation Commission triggered it, is this gonna apply then? Because don't they have their own set of inspections and things like that, or?
Good question.
Well, I think this is, this isn't construction, right? When they're building the stormwater chambers and everything else. And it's, you know what I mean? And then there's,
Because this stormwater regulations, they're basically relegated to like wetlands and wetland buffers and things like that. If it's not in their jurisdiction,
Then this will come into play.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So this only comes into play if it's
Correct.
not,
Correct.
okay.
correct, yes.
Yep. And the next section is section 11, the project complete as built plans within 90 days. Registered PE must prepare as built.
Yeah, I'd like to clean this up because I
Yeah.
don't see the need to have a GIS format for the as-built plans because
Yeah.
we don't usually require that.
No, but I would. Well, the other thing is that as part of the as-built is, again, I think it goes back to the Board of Authority that you're closing it out. Here's the as-built.
Yep.
We're all done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that language should be in there, something
yeah.
about completion. So, and yeah, you don't need the GIS stuff because you're specifically calling out a formatted tool.
Yeah.
Certificate of completion upon applicant, okay. That's good, B. B is good.
Would that surety cover an as-built? Because I've seen times where people buck on doing an as-built.
But you
Not usually, no.
But you can't get your final without the as-built.
The surety is kind of an insurance policy for the town in case they have to come in and do the work. So an
Right.
as-built would not fall under that. Not my experience. An as-built plan is part of the process. Like
All right.
they have to do a roadway as-built for subdivisions.
Right.
And then I'm looking at 12. 12 is the owner of the property of which the work has been done. Regulations for private stormwater systems. Failure to maintain. In that section there is really section 12 on the last page 24. There's a thing that we used to do which was a maintenance plan. For like site plans and stuff like that they had to have like a maintenance plan, like once a year go out and cut, the drainage pond around there and stuff like that. So
If they adhere to the stormwater standards, that's required.
yeah,
So that's,
yeah.
Should be
I think we
yeah.
could probably clean that up and add to the stormwater standards. And then this section is A is the failure to maintain. And then what the trigger is that on that. So, and that might be, you might want to say failure to maintain might have to go under enforcement to say, if you fail to maintain, and then is the town going to go in and do your yearly cutting and send you a bill? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of the failure to maintain type of thing.
I think it depends what the maintenance is.
Yeah. Well, that's why if you have a maintenance plan.
If it's difference between if it's just simple cutting and trimming
Yeah.
versus something structural that needs to be fixed.
yeah, so say somebody built something and now all of a sudden you got all this stormwater dumping out onto the
Correct.
street in the winter time because it was a bad design or something,
Correct.
and
That's never happened.
so I know, so then who's gonna fix that?
Right.
Especially in the winter
Yeah, I
time.
know. Well, so maybe we can take a look at 12 as well and chew on that and see what language needs to be in there. Okay. So, section 13.
We have this in our ability call.
Yeah, that's in our bylaw, right?
Yep. Just carry that over.
Yeah, that might be, how clean is that one? Section 10 of ours.
Cross it out, we'll do ours.
I'd say it's word for word almost. Very, very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take what we have in our bylaw, bring it over.
Yeah.
So that way there we match. I think that we did change some things of you know,
Yeah, it's word for word. The only thing is,
I think we.
our bylaw says bylaw, these regulations say regulations.
Yeah.
Well, section 8 of the bylaw that was passed shows what Colin was saying about waivers and provisions of relief.
Yep.
Could carry that over word for word. I think that's good language.
Oh, yeah, that's what we wanted anyways. And there's an enforcement in the bylaw that was already written in there, but I think you're gonna review it with Ken, and,
Yeah, enforcement of the bylaw is a little bit different than the regulations.
yes,
So-
just review them from there.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right,
chapter 7.
But they have to be consistent with.
that's it,
They can't exceed the bylaw.
yeah.
If they can't.
Well, yeah, like I said, the enforcing regulations is a little bit different because now you're dealing with, on the ground stuff, so we gotta take a look at that to make sure that's appropriate for that.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say
We good?
pretty productive,
Wow.
actually. Wow, he's right.
So, all right,
So did anybody go back, did anybody read this word for word to make sure this was the final draft that we did at the meeting?
Yes.
To make sure that was,
yes,
You did.
because
because it went.
it wasn't,
100 of them coming.
it wasn't, I had to go
That said
line by
final
line.
draft. The file I had said final
Correct,
draft.
because I had to go through and do all the matching.
Yeah.
And that's what we reviewed at a meeting.
Yeah.
And I had to roll it all in because 2 edits weren't done.
Yeah,
And when we had our final meeting, we went through everything.
yeah.
And then I put final, had a Word doc of it and a PDF. And I sent those both to Lisa and stuff, so it made it on the warrant.
And the one on the warrant was 100% correct, and this one, I just want to make sure it
Correct.
wasn't one of
Which is the
ones
same
that
version that he should be, yes. He should-
That's the one that
The
we
lingering
had
around.
online that I called.
No, because I think that's the one he was sent over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in someone else's file, I wouldn't trust that,
No.
so.
Well, it's the only one I have, though. That's
Yeah. No, because I think I sent it to Jen, because Lisa needed it to put on the warrant.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. And we had to do I had to do all the edit stuff because things weren't, from our meetings, weren't
Right.
carried over.
Correct.
Yeah, these gentlemen know how many weeks have been spent cleaning up the electronic files.
That's what I
Jen and I have been working very hard at that, so
Must be a nightmare.
All right.
we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
So our next meeting is October 14th.
So I'll do the best I can to
6
do whatever changes have been talked about tonight
Thank
to you
you.
guys before I leave.
Okay. And just make sure Carol's on the, I don't know, she might have a conflict.
Yeah,
but
she was,
she's on the
yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So I'll talk to you, I'll get a draft agenda. So the next agenda, attendance, we don't need committee organization, we don't need committee charge task. We'll have the meeting
Yep.
minutes for the
Minutes.
previous committee.
Correct.
And we're-
For the
what-
stakeholders.
We're going to review the material.
So what do you want to put down for a review? Just,
We're gonna review
Continuation on,
Stormwater bylaw regs.
keep it simple.
there it is,
Yeah.
continuation. With possible peer
I would
review.
just call it stormwater regs. That's it. It's not the bylaw piece.
Correct, that's right.
Yep.
Okay.
With possible.
Continuation of review of draft stormwater regs.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
Make a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
All right. Motion by
Nice.
Margaret, second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.